Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're reviewing the 2020 Mercedes-Benz Glc300 4Matic Coupe. The Mercedes-Benz Glc300 Coupe is based on the regular Glc300 SUV, but this one has a sloping roof that gives it a coupe-like profile. This Mercedes-Benz Glc300 Coupe and the regular Glc300 are both available for sale at AKAGERA Motors Rwanda. Check out their website through the link in the description, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact them. The GLC Coupe is one of the two coupe SUVs sold by Mercedes-Benz, and the GLC Coupe was first introduced in 2017. Here's the car's key fob, and in the front we have a lock, unlock, and a button to open and close the tailgate. In the back we have a button to release the mechanical key. This car is also equipped with Mercedes keyless go entry system. With the key fob in your pocket or purse, walk up to the car and tap the touch sensitive button on the door handle to lock the car. And to unlock the car, you just grab the door handle and the car will automatically unlock. Inside there are 5 leather seats and leather lining throughout the cabin. Inside on the driver's door panel there is storage on the lower half. On the upper half of the door panel is where we'll find the usual power mirror and power window controls. Above the bottle holder on the door panel there is a button to open and close the power tailgate. There are backlit Mercedes-Benz door sills on the 2 front doors. And as you may expect, the 2 front seats in this car are power adjustable. With the keyless entry system, you also get an engine start-stop button, and in this car it's a cool backlit button that glows once you unlock the car, as if it's begging you to press it. Once you turn on the accessories, the infotainment screen will also come to life. But in my opinion, I think the system takes a bit longer than it should to start up. Once it's done booting up, a prompt shows up that reminds you not to be distracted by the screen. Let's go ahead and turn on the headlights, fog light, and the hazard lights, and take another quick look around the vehicle and check out the engine bay as well. There are LED turn signals integrated in the side mirrors. There are multi-beam LED headlights up front, and these are a set of multiple LEDs controlled by a network of cameras and sensors inside the vehicle. Under the hood of this Glc300 Coupe lies a naturally aspirated 2-liter inline 4-cylinder that produces 258 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. This GLC is riding on 235/60 with 18-inch alloy wheels. Round the back we'll find LED taillights, turn signals, and reverse lights, and the 4Matic badge means that this has an all-wheel drive system. Back inside there is the 8-inch infotainment screen. Next to the home button there is the profile button, and from here you can set different profiles for different drivers. Back to the home page, in the top right corner of the screen there is the notification area where notifications will be displayed. Once again, back to the home screen, in the top area there is the search button for settings you want to quickly access. Next we move on to the media sources in this car. They include AM and FM radio, Bluetooth, auxiliary, and USB. There's also Android Auto and Apple CarPlay integration in the system. There are several ways to control the infotainment screen in this car. First, there's the touch input. Next, there are quick action buttons in the middle of the center control stack. There are 2 trackpads that you can use as well. One is in the center control stack and the other one is on the steering wheel. Last but certainly not least, you can use voice command to adjust different aspects of the vehicle, as I shall demonstrate later in the video. As you may have noticed already, there are ambient lights in the vehicle throughout the whole cabin. And through the comfort section of the menu, you can adjust the different aspects of the ambient lights and change the color or brightness of the lights. The cool thing is you can separately adjust the brightness in the first and second row. After comfort, we'll have the info section. From here you can view detailed information about the fuel consumption, engine load, vehicle information, as well as the owner's manual, all in real time. After the vehicle information section, we'll find the apps section, and here you'll find compatible apps synced from your phone through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Next, in the settings, you have assistant settings. In the camera and parking section, you can adjust the volume and pitch of the warning tone of the parking sensors. You can also enable the audio fade during warning tone, and this will automatically lower the in-car audio volume so that you can better hear the parking sensor warning tones. From here, you can also open the rear view camera cover for when you want to clean it. There is also the attention assist feature, and this will use onboard sensors to determine whether the driver is paying attention to the road. Next, in the vehicle settings, we'll have the dynamic select. From here, you can change the drive mode of the vehicle by adjusting the throttle and steering response, as well as the traction control. From the vehicle settings, you can also choose whether you want the vehicle to be locked with acoustic sound or the alarm. And next we have light settings, and from here you can adjust the ambient lights as well. And my favorite setting is the deep beam settings, and from here you can tell the car whether you're driving on a right side traffic road or a left side traffic road. And the headlights will adjust so that you won't glare on coming traffic when driving on the wrong side of the road. Next, you are able to set for how long you want the exterior lights to remain on once you've locked the car. Next, we have system settings. In the system settings, we have display settings, and from here you can adjust the brightness of the screen or turn it off. You can also choose between a daytime or nighttime viewing mode. Next, from the controls setting, you can adjust the keyboard and handwriting. There are also adjustments for the touchpad. Next, we have the Glc300 settings. And Glc300 is just a fancy name for Mercedes's voice assistant. Next, we have the usual audio settings. And from here, you can adjust the equalizer, volume, and fade. You can also set the different volumes for the navigation and phone ringtones. Next, we have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth settings. And from here, you can turn on or off Bluetooth as well as Wi-Fi. You can also turn on the vehicle hotspot. After Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings, you have the usual system settings like language, date and time, the software update, as well as system information. And in this car, we have Mercedes' own BOXX software system. Below the infotainment screen, we have 3 air vents, and you turn the dial in the middle to turn on or off the airflow. Below the air vents, we have controls for the 2-zone automatic climate system. The leftmost button controls the temperature for the driver's side. The next button controls the air direction or air distribution, as Mercedes-Benz calls it. The following button controls the fan speed, and next we have the button for the automatic climate system. Press the huge menu button in the middle and the climate controls will show up in the infotainment screen. And you use that button to toggle between the climate controls and the usual home screen. Next, we have a button for the rear defroster, and the sync button will synchronize the 2 climate zones into one. There are also buttons for the air circulation and the AC. Below the climate controls, you have the quick action buttons that I mentioned earlier. The button labeled with the car is the vehicle information menu, while the button labeled with the star can be set to do just about anything. Further below, there are 2 cup holders covered by a black piano lid piece. And in the same vicinity, we'll find the 12-volt power outlet and a pad to place your phone while driving. The cup holders are also surrounded by ambient lights. Next, we'll see the trackpad that we use to control the infotainment screen, and there are a number of controls around it. The first one on the right is the scroll wheel that adjusts the volume. Next, we have a power button for the infotainment screen. The following button toggles between different camera angles, and then we have a traction control off button. On the left, we have a dynamic select scroll wheel, and this will change between the different drive modes that include Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, as well as Eco and an individual mode. Below that, we have a button that turns off the parking sensors. Next, there's the button to turn on or off the engine auto start stop feature. Next, below the center armrests, we'll have a standard storage area. Inside, we'll find 2 USB ports, one for charging and another one for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Moving on to the steering wheel controls, we'll have buttons for the cruise control system, and the 3 upper buttons are used to control the multi-information display screen in the instrument cluster. There are 7 main menus in the instrument cluster screen, and the first one is trip, which we are currently in, and here we'll find information about fuel range and fuel consumption, eco driving display, and a digital speed readout. Next, there are a few more menus including the phone, media, and from here you can adjust the current radio station. Next we have navigation, but in this card the navigation card is not inserted. There's also the trip menu that I've already talked about, and then there's the assistance menu, and from here you can monitor the attention assist that we talked about earlier. Last but not least, there's the Mercedes-Benz service menu. This is where you set maintenance reminders. On the right spoke there are controls for the infotainment screen. I'll go ahead and demonstrate the voice command function in this car. Turn on the climate control.
The air conditioning is switched on.
Hey Mercedes,
How may I help you?
turn up the fan speed.
I'm setting the ventilation to level 5.
All in all, it's a very good system, very intuitive, and instantly responds to your commands. Next, behind the steering wheel on the left, we have the usual turn signal stock and the windshield wiper controls integrated on the same stock. There's also the downshift paddle right behind the steering wheel on the left. Behind the steering wheel on the right, there's the shift column. Push it upwards or downwards to engage the drive or reverse gears respectively, or push the button at the end of the stock to engage the parking gear. There's also an upshift paddle for when you want to change the gears manually. On the roof liner we'll find sun visors with integrated vanity mirrors and lights. There are also individual Bluetooth microphones on each side of the vehicle. In the center we'll find the usual reading lights / dome lights. There's also a button to turn on the reading lights in the second row. There is a sunglass holder and a speaker behind the sunglass holder. Next we move on to the mirror controls on the door panel, and the blue light you see is from the ambient lights right above the buttons. The very first button is used to fold and unfold the side mirrors. The other buttons work in conjunction to adjust the mirrors after selecting the mirror you want to adjust. Let's turn off the ignition and check out the rest of the vehicle. Moving on to the second row seat, there's keyless go entry buttons on all 4 doors. And in this second row, there's nothing particularly unusual to discuss. There's the usual armrest for the second row seat passenger, but on this particular one we have a small storage compartment right below the armrest and 2 over-engineered cup holders in front, very typical of the Germans. There are 2 air vents for the second row seat occupants and a single knob to block the airflow. On the roof liner we'll find the usual reading lights and a coat hanger, as well as a retractable grab handle. Moving on to the back with the key fob, we press the button on the key fob and the tailgate will automatically open. When you have the key fob in close proximity, you can also push on the Mercedes-Benz logo and the tailgate will also automatically open. It's also worth mentioning that behind the Mercedes-Benz logo is where the backup camera is located, and it will be revealed once you shift into reverse. There's decent cargo space in back and a retractable cargo cover. There are also lights on each side of the vehicle. Back here you'll also find buttons on each side to fold down the second row seats for added cargo space. In the trunk of this car is where you'll find the Mercedes-Benz owner's manual, as well as a Mercedes-Benz first aid kit. Below the loading floor there's a surprisingly large additional storage area. Down here is where you'll also find the spare tire and the tire changing equipment. To close the tailgate you can use the button on the key fob, but there's a button on the tailgate itself, and this one you can also use to set the opening height of the tailgate. Next we'll move on to the front passenger seat, where we'll find a very decent glove box compartment, and there is nothing particularly unusual about it. Further below we'll also find a net to hold things like a purse while driving. That's all for today's video, and thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and share with your friends. Also subscribe for more great car reviews coming soon.